The Navy Warfare Development Command tested a new anti-ship missile defense system June 21st through 25th. Pandora Fog consists of shipboard radar-absorbing carbon fiber clouds tested under a variety of at-sea conditions using assets from the U.S. Army, Navy, and Air Force. These man-made clouds are part of a layered defense and are capable of preventing a missile from detecting and striking its target.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Carbon fiber man-made clouds. Now we must have one hell of an operation going on in the Pacific, which we're going to get into in a minute. I mean, it's just ridiculous what's going on out here off the West Coast. So we'll get into that here in a minute. Let's hit a couple of headlines. The UK halts fracking in England, citing earthquake concerns. You know, fracking's been causing earthquakes for a long time. They denied it. Then they finally come out saying, yeah, fracking causes earthquakes. Well, out here in London, Minister Boris Johnson once hailed fracking as glorious news for humanity. But now he changed his mind. So let's get into this a little bit. Let me go down here. All right. So the leader of the opposition Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, tweeted on Saturday that the government was only temporary pause and an election stunt to try to win a few votes. His party would ban fracking permanently, he said. Fracking, also known as hydraulic fracturing, involves injecting water, sand, chemicals at high pressure to fracture the shale rock and recover natural gas from it. The practice has proved controversial and carries potential environmental and community costs. Hundreds of earthquakes linked to gas extraction have damaged thousands of homes. Buildings in France and Germany have banned fracking. Scotland and Wales have long had their own techniques on it. Let me go on down here. I don't want to read all this stuff. But anyway, tons of damage has been done by fracking, not to mention it poisons the water aquifers. So just another, you know, they know this is going on. All the countries know it, but instead of not doing it anymore, they just do it more. I mean, look at the United States, look through Texas, look all the way up the West Coast, all the way up to Yellowstone volcano. What's going to happen? What they're doing, they're creating a weak point, especially fracking into the side of a super volcano. What would it take for that to just break loose? I mean, the earth looks like Swiss cheese right now. So we had this come out. If you missed a video earlier, we have a alert for a casualty role player opportunity and a National Guard training exercise today through the 6th, 2019. Now this is a exercise that's going to be going on down in Florida. And what I heard is, I think down here there's only like a prison and something else down here. But they're going to portray various physical and emotional conditions and may go through decontamination as many as 3 to 4 times. So the CRPs will provide cutaway prop clothing and may be washed in decontamination lines to simulate the cleaning off of the chemical substances. So it looks like you could earn $100 to $325 for 3 days. Get your snacks and drinks. Man, getting crazy. So heads up down in that area. You never know when these go live. And at the same time, well, actually a little bit later in the month, we need volunteers. 2019 Mato County flood exercise. So they're going to do a flood exercise over on the West Coast in California. The county is planning and conducting a large-scale exercise to test setup and operation of a large shelter in response to flooding scenario. This exercise will serve as a valuable opportunity to test emergency response functions. They are looking for volunteers to help role play as shelter residents displaced from their homes. Volunteers who participate will receive the following. You'll get a certificate a free breakfast and lunch the day of the exercise, credit for volunteer hours, pre-exercise briefing on shelter operations, emergency response capabilities. So it looks like they could be getting ready to blow up a dam or some kind of earthquake that'll break some dams, and they're getting prepared for it. So here's the website. I should have all these posted in the link. If not, here, I'll post this in the chat right now here on YouTube. Somebody wants to paste that over on the Facebook for me there. Just getting insane, man. So I was looking into some of this stuff here, and you got the current FEMA flood map, and you can look at all the different flood maps that FEMA has provided, and what they're doing is they're raising the insurance. You know, they're probably going to blame this on climate change or climate crisis or, you know, some kind of fake climate thing. And they're raising the rates. They're expanding the flood zones to get more money. I mean, everything's always about taking your money, all your hard-earned money. The war on the meat, the war on everything. The war on the food, the air, the water. It's the New World Order. And then I looked into this, wow, my browser's freaking out here. The Human Domain Solution. This is the one that's providing the exercises that are going on down in Florida. This is a Virginia-based company specializing in professional services, consulting, staffing, national security, role-playing, training in the core areas of the human domain. So they do all kinds of crazy stuff here. Let me post this link out there in the chat. And then you'll have it if you want to go check out all the crazy stuff they do in all the different operations. Or something I was going to talk about that. Well, anyway, we'll get into other stuff here. Also, the World Health Organization, they're calling for expressions of interest for the systematic reviews of 2019. The World Health Organization Radiation Program has an ongoing project to assess potential health effects of exposure to radio frequency electromagnetic fields in the general and working population, potential adverse health outcomes, who conducted a broad international survey in 2018. 10 major topics were identified. Now the commission systematic reviews to analyze and synthesize the available evidence. So it looks like they checked on the cancer, adverse reproductive outcomes, cognitive impairment, symptoms, exposure to RF, biomarkers, oxidative stress, the effect of exposure to heat, and source of pain, burns, cataract, heat-related instances. Anyway, everybody needs to check this out and see what kind of stuff they're going to give us. So this is actually a pretty big-time thing to look into, and you'll find out all kinds of stuff. So we'll try to see if they are going to tell the truth or lie about it or whatever. So when you look at a lot of these, you know, exercises that they're doing and all these other things, then you see these articles coming out, abrupt shifts in the Arctic climate projected. So they're projecting some kind of abrupt shifts in the climate. Well, it's not going to be a natural shift. I can tell you that. It'll be a man-made shift. And if you come over here on this PDF, I definitely got this down in the description. Hang on here, let me get a drink. The Air Command and Staff College Air University Operational Defenses through Weather Control in 2030. This was a research report submitted to the facility in partial fulfillment of the graduation requirements. This was, I think, wrote back in 2009. Yeah, the report date was 2009. This is a PDF that most Americans probably have no idea this even exists. It talks about the directed energy weapons and electromagnetic spectrum, the autonomous nanotechnology swarm timeline, 4 generations of nanotechnology. So the weather operation white carpet, the strike package, is a completed mixture of 4th and 5th generation aircraft integrated with the ISR and strike unmanned aerial vehicles, the drones. The lead element into the area of regard. I'm not going to read all this. This is something you guys need to look at. It talks about, all the electromagnetics and what they plan on developing and already have developed. And, working with the weather and the people. It's all about taking over all the people. They want to put this smart grid up so that they can control giant grids of the power. They can flick one switch and turn a whole, state's power off. You can't do that with the old stuff. You got to physically go out to the pole and turn the power off. This way they have complete control of the electrical grid. They got all the weather control stuff here, foundations of the weather control. This is a big time article. This should be a video all in itself just on this one document. But I'll leave that in there for people who want to read into it. All right, so last night I brought this article up. It's an old article, 2014, how SAS Power ordered to remove all the smart meters in the province. Now, I got sidetracked when I was going through this. And the main thing I wanted to point out on this was the fact that that these meters and all this kind of technology was sparking tons of fires. And it all linked back. And then I found some more articles. Anyway, I thought they were going to take them all out, but it looks like they're putting them back in. So even though they got all the evidence that these meters have caught all kinds of fires here, they're going to bring them back. In fact, they're supposed to be installed this year, by the end of late this year, probably being installed right now. But here's an updated version of that article. In 2014, the SAS Power to remove all installed smart meters, some 105,000, due to safety concerns raised by fires related to the devices. The replacement of the devices was expected to cost about $15 million, and the full cost failed program was pegged at $47 million. There were 8 fires tracked back to the smart meters. The first one was in 2014 at a house. Some of them were just blowing up. Tons of stuff. But that was the main thing, is I was wanting to get into just how bad these smart meters are on top of, everything else. So I found this article that just come out May 29th this year. So after 30, where is it here? So these people are, in this area, they're losing their power up to 20 times per year. And the outages are lasting 6 to 10 hours. So what are they going to do? They're going to bring in something else. They're going to bring in more smart meters. So they're putting these smart meters in everywhere. There's like no way around it. They're going to put them in. If you can get out of it, you better do it, because then that way they just can't shut you off. That's what gets me. Why don't they, they do talk about why they don't bury the power lines here, because the risk of flooding. How about earthquakes? Our grid is just screwed anyway. The whole thing is messed up. All right, so we got bad air going on. Wow, where'd the map go? So the Idaho people were getting alerts on toxic air, the PM 2.5s. They're calling it air stagnation advisory has been issued by the National Weather Service, which covers all 5 northern counties due to high pressure system. Atmospheric mixing will be severely limited for the next several days. Temperatures will increase gradually to more normal levels at this time of year. air quality will be in the unhealthy for sensitive groups to unhealthy range for all North Idaho through Monday. And I put this link down in there if you want to check out the all the stuff. It was up in the hazardous zone earlier. So we can see right here, these are the forecast. You can get the current little hot spot there, bad spot there in Washington. You got the ozone, current PM 2.5s. This is just like the toxic dust coming out of the Saharas, and then also the fire dust. But that's not all. That's not all that's causing the bad air. We're going to get into that here in just a second. So Arkansas takes a stab at regulating human microchipping. The fact this is even a headline, microchipping employees in Arkansas, shows just how far this country has fallen off the freedom scale. Man, don't even do this stuff. This one is aimed at getting ahead of the human chip movement, the one of which USA Today somewhat eerily wrote on August 2017, "You will get chipped, it's a matter of time." Nah, I don't think I'll be getting chipped. And I don't think most of the people out here in the audience will be getting chipped. Oh, okay, so we were talking about the Miles Research Company is doing some rain projects down in Australia for the farmers. Guess what? It made the news, but they're not talking about who gave them the rain. So the Australian drought farmers and families rejoice in the rain. Had a really funny thumbnail. Let me see if I can get it to reload here. A series of rainstorms broke out in New South Wales over the weekend, bringing in much needed relief. So it looks like David Miles' work is going on. Pretty funny thumbnail they used. All right, let's get into the maps. So check this out, man. This is just horrible what's going on out here in the Pacific. Now, this is yesterday. Now, how in the hell did all these ships, I'll put an enhancement on here, how did all these bunker fuel ships get all the way from up here? I mean, we had a monster operation, and then right below, Alaska, and then there was an operation over here at the Aleutian Island chain, and then over here by the Kamchatka Peninsula, and now look where they're at today. Straight out from San Francisco, then you still got them up here off the coast of Washington and Oregon. I mean, this is just an insane amount of bunker fuel. Now, everybody's always asked me, what is the bunker fuel? Well, I got a couple clips for you tonight that I'll play here real quick here, if I can get them in the order I want it to go here. If they'll even work.
Ocean pollution. In one day at sea, the average cruise ship emits more soot than 1 million cars, and more sulfur dioxide than 13 million cars. On a week-long voyage, the average cruise ship generates 150,000 gallons of human sewage, enough to fill up 10 backyard swimming pools.
A toxic life on the ocean waves. How just a few ships can create more emissions than all the world's cars. And plastics, not so fantastic. New efforts to tackle one of the planet's biggest polluters. I'm Dana Lewis. This is Insight.
We fast forward a little
Harmony
bit.
of the seas. When the largest cruise ship in the world chugged into the Southampton port in England, it was an orchestrated, tugboat-driven, waterborne ballet through the mists of fireboat fountains. There's a reason the ship is divided into 7 neighborhoods, including Central Park and the Boardwalk, because it literally is a floating town.
I lost the thing.
Almost
I wanted to fast forward it
3,000
here.
staterooms, 6,780 guests. Supersized, gargantuan. These ships just keep getting...
Oh, man.
A toxic life on the ocean waves. Just a few ships can create more emissions than all the world's cars. And plastics, not so fantastic. New efforts to tackle one of the planet's biggest polluters. I'm Dana Lewis. This is Insight.
Yeah, they try to make them sound all nice and fuzzy, but let me try to, I'm trying to fast forward this till it gets to the decent information on it. So let me try this. It probably will.
Clean air campaigner in the shadow of the big ships that pull into this port. He complains his partner has asthma and that the air quality is a serious health concern because of ships burning low-grade, dirty diesel fuel.
Some of these cruise ships, like the Navigator of the Seas behind us, that's probably got the power demand of a 50,000 population town. So it's got air conditioning, electrics, you name it, people there. That is power hungry. So that is pumping out a lot of toxins, a lot of pollution as it sits in harbour. Once it goes beyond the international limit, then they switch to a cruder form of oil, which they call bunker fuel.
So they're not only supersized, but so is the pollution they cause. A ship like the Harmony has two 4-story, 16-cylinder engines burning up to 4,900 liters of fuel per hour, 249,000 liters of fuel per day. One cruise ship can emit more sulfur than several million cars. There's more nitrous oxide emissions than all the car traffic passing through a medium-sized town. More particulate emissions than thousands of London buses from just one of these.
It's a problem because we have hospitals that are bursting at the seams with people with asthma, COPD, all kinds of lung-related diseases. It's a problem because we've got young children breathing in what is effectively contaminated air into the schoolrooms themselves. Many schools are not very far away from the docks, so there are days in which those children should really not be allowed out into the playground.
And when they're not at sea, in ports around the world, ships run engines for power. And environmental groups say it's a serious hazard.
It is really important to address the shipping emissions, both from when they're out at sea, which contributes to the overall background, but probably most importantly when they're in port, because they're actually where people are living and breathing the air, and as air can move around, clearly, you know, the exhaust emissions of the ship, if it's running its engines in port, will affect local people's health.
Container ships are also belching polluters. The Mole Triumph carries 20,000 containers. It's 396 meters long, almost half a kilometer. One massive container ship can in 1 year emit cancer and asthma-causing pollutants equivalent to 50 million cars. Worldwide, there are 90,000 vessels. A lot of the container shipping business is suffering, so upgrading fleets to be more environmentally sound isn't happening. But the rich cruise lines say they are changing.
We do have to do a lot with the fuel we use at shore and with.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there's bunker fuel pretty much in a nutshell of just how toxic they are. I mean, if you take the bunker fuel, if you take what's being deployed in the aircraft across the planet, there's your climate problem. There is the whole issue with the earth. And what we're looking at right now, this is the ram slider. All these long, straight, squiggly lines that bill out, these are bunker fuel. These are not chemtrails. These are bunker fuel out in the ocean. And if you take a look over here, the sulfur dioxide, you see these long, straight lines. These are coming from Hawaii, headed over to the California coast, and they go on up to the Alaskan Aleutian Island chain. These are the shipping lanes. They're all long, straight lines. You can see them all across the globe. But what the hell are we looking at here? These are not fishing vessels. These are not cargo ships that are bringing, you know, stuff from Hawaii over to California. These are something else. These are something they're not going to talk about. Let me see if I can advance the frames here. So we've seen this huge bunker fuel operation that was way up here yesterday. Now look at them today. I mean, how do they move so fast? I mean, it's just crazy. These things are something else. These are more like the Pandora fog video that I played right there in the beginning. Yeah, we shouldn't be buffering. We're all in the green right now. So this is just an insane amount of ships out here that are just smoking us out with toxic emissions. I mean, look at all these guys. These guys are all side by side by side. Completely insane. So why do these climate crisis activists do not talk about this? This is the biggest polluter, the most toxic emissions on the planet. How come they're not stopping this? And it seems like this only goes on out here in the Pacific before a huge event, before a big weather change or a fire or some kind of cyclone or hurricane. Same thing over in the Atlantic. We've only seen them over in the Atlantic maybe 2-3 times this whole year. And it was before some beast of a storm heading over to Europe. So, you know, right here tells you right now there's something going on out here that they are setting up big time. And they're definitely not shipping lanes, and they're definitely not the fishing vessels. These are something else. So yesterday they were up here. Today they were up there. They're still there, and they're down here. Let's put on the enhancement so you can see them a little better. So they're straight off the coast of San Francisco, San Jose, and you got a big fat liner going right on up the coast. Then you got a whole nother operation straight out from the coast of Washington, and it goes all the way up to Alaska. Then you got a secondary bunker fuel operation, which you can't even see till I put the enhancement on here, and then you can see them. They're out here billowing the toxic mess out. If I remember right, there's even more over here by the Sea of Japan. It's not quite loaded all the way yet. So you have, you know, tons of ships out here dropping out the chemicals, and we're all breathing it in. And here we are today. So on top of the mass bunker fuel operations out here that are just poisoning the sky, affecting the weather, you also have the chemtrails going on. They're all over Washington. Washington has fire smoke, you know, bunker fuel, and then they're keeping the air here. They're not letting it get out, so it's creating toxic air because it's not mixing up here. It's like they stopped the jet stream winds up there. Let's go look down here by the Bajas. We got a mass spraying operation down here. I mean, look at this. You got tic-tac-toes everywhere. You got a plane coming up, doing a U-turn, flying back. This is targeted aerosols for a purpose. This is for the weather control. That's not the only place we're seeing it. It's all over Florida. Let me get this on a better... Let that clear up a little bit. See the big X right there off the coast of Tampa. Aerosols being deployed all the way from Mexico through Texas, through Mississippi, Alabama. Actually, the whole East Coast where you got the rain, or where the rain is heading, they're cloud seeding. All these clouds that we're looking at in this frame are man-made synthetic clouds, grid after grid. Look at this grid over Kentucky. Let me let that clear up the best we can. And we'll be able to see this over on the Go 17. Look at this. This is nuts. This is weather control. They can lie all they want about it. You also have spraying operations going on in the north through Iowa, Kansas, Missouri. Everywhere what looks to be a cloud is not a real cloud. It's a man-made cloud. Let's bring up the Go 17, go 16. We'll use one of them. You know, for the people who are so distracted by their telephone, they're distracted by their jobs. You know, while we're paying all these pharmaceutical companies to try to keep us healthy, we're just like cattle. And when you look at this, you can see, if it'll finish loading, there's no reason for that stagnant air up in Idaho. What it is, it's not from cloud inversion, it's from the bunker fuel. They can call it, you know, whatever they want. We know the truth. We just seen it over off the west coast. Now let me go ahead and put this on the, what they call the cirrus layer. This is the chemtrail layer. Just try to give this thing a second to load, then I'll put a little enhancer on here so we can see the spraying operations. You know, people aren't going to deny it. They don't care, man. They don't care unless it affects them. You know, when they start getting lung problems, you know, I know people that cough worse than I do, and I'm a smoker, and they don't smoke. It's from all the aerosols being deployed and all the other toxic things the governments are doing. So I'll just try a different layer here. I'm trying to figure out which one do I normally use. Wow, it's like my my thing has changed here. All right, so we'll wow, it's like everything is changed on my thing here. Let me try inverting the color. All right, let's zoom in on that spraying operation over Kentucky and see what it looks like a little bit closer. You know, this is the Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050. This is the eugenics program. This is the Georgia Guidestones depopulation. And we're seeing it right before our eyes every day. We're seeing the New World Order systematically pop out all these different things to make us sick, to ruin the water supplies, to ruin the food supplies. You know, why they're building AI to implant their brains into. I mean, they won't need us, so that's why they're doing it. So yeah, look at the spraying operation here over, you know, starts out there in Arkansas, goes through Tennessee, up into Kentucky. I'm going to zoom in even a little more because that's a really bad spraying job. Let's go right here over Tennessee and give this a second to load. That's a dumb comment. So here is the aerosols. You know, I don't light these up. These are coming down on me from above. These are being deployed over our head without our consent. That's the problem. So yeah, that's just a massive spraying operation. If it wasn't for these, it's just going too fast. Let me slow it down. I might need to, oh, no wonder I'm kind of there. Now let me back this up. So if all these aircraft weren't going back and forth, there wouldn't be no clouds here. Even if you don't believe in the chemtrails and believe these are water vapor, we have a serious situation with the water vapor coming out of the back of the planes. I mean, this is insane right here. Look at these guys, X after X after X. And it's turning into a weather system. I mean, that's just insane, the spraying that's going on. Look at this right here. I mean, that's just crazy. take a look a little farther south. So, you know, they're spraying out all the way out here in the Atlantic. 2 different areas through South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, Alabama, all of Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, Texas, big spraying operation, Louisiana. And here comes another spraying operation in Texas. Nighttime spraying going on right now in Texas. Let's go to the West Coast, see what it looks like with the bunker fuel and the aerosols. See if I can get it to load here. So you can't see the bunker fuel in the contrail layer, in the cirrus layer, because it's low level. Now you can kind of see the fog from the bunker fuel, but when I change it over to like microphysics or something like that, now you can see them. Now you can see the mass spraying operation right at the border of the Baja California. It goes all the way up to the border of Canada. Tell me that's not on purpose. Tell me these are just fishing vessels. No way. Try to get that to load all the way up. So you're talking about, you know, when you look at the time stamps on this, how the hell are these ships moving that fast? You're talking thousands of miles. So something pretty incredible is going on out here. I mean, this is just the biggest spray. This is bigger than before the Paradise Fire. I mean, this is just a mass bunker fuel operation. Let me zoom in. Yeah, it won't let me zoom in. Can I get it? Yeah, I get it with the regional one here. There we go. Look at that. That's completely normal. So these are, I mean, look how fast. Okay, so the timestamp from 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So we're going from 11 o'clock through the night. So just through the night, that's how far. Hold on, my thing's like, oh man, what happened? So just through the night, that's how far they moved. And then today you wake up and then look. Like, where did all these see, they turned on the nasty stuff. It's like I mean, this one right here is hauling butt right there. So in 1 hour, that ship went, you know, a couple 500-600 miles in an hour. No way. This guy's moving really fast. It almost looks like they're rockets being launched. So that's insane right there, and hopefully that is coming in and clear enough for you guys. But wow. So there you go, man. What are they setting up for? Something for damn sure. Here's a different version of it. This is a Go 17. And it may not animate. So they're controlling the high pressure system out here off the West Coast. They're not going to let it rain. They're not going to let it rain here for at least 2 weeks. You know, where is all this bunker fuel going, being sprayed this far south? I mean, you got ships coming in from every direction, and then you got a fleet of them coming up from the south, going north. So they're doing a crisscrossing pattern out here, and this is definitely affecting the weather. Let's just go take a quick look at the forecast just to see. We'll see what the current storms are. Maybe they're trying to guide this system out here by Japan over to the west coast. Look at it. Look at all the models. Well, the old Hart, you know, there's so many ionospheric heaters out there now. Even the NextRads, they're not powerful like a Hart array, but they are omnidirectional phased array antennas. You know, I think I don't remember all the stats on all of them. But basically, you know, even if they're only 750 watts or megawatts, then if you put them all, link them all together, I'm sure they can do some different things. But most of now they don't use the Hart because they're using satellite-based, even stronger weapons. I mean, most of the issues with the jet stream, the fires, that's all coming from these satellite systems. So yeah, they're not going to let any moisture get into California, and these things are not updated. We're only getting the next 48 hours. So, you know, when you're looking at this, the stagnant air in Idaho should be going away in the next 48 hours because there's a wind event coming through. Of course, you're going to have the bunker fuel mixed in with all this. Yeah, so they're updating these maps right now, so I can't really check what I was wanting to check. Yep, they're updating all the models, so I can't get out a couple weeks just to see. Look, there's moisture that could possibly come up in the next 40, but they're not going to let it. They'll stop it. They're burning California up. That's what they want to do. And I can't remember if there's a bunch of... I mean, this stuff is going on all over the place. You got the company out here, the United Arab Emirates, is just playing with the typhoons out here. They just keep on creating them. Let me take a quick look at the tropical cyclone page. Let's just see what it looks like on here. Oh, we got a new storm out there by Guam. They just fabricate these things all day long out there by Guam. Yeah, you can go to the Climate Viewer 3D and see all the ionospheric heaters worldwide. So, wow, this thing's going to turn into a Category 3 and then head right on over to India. I thought they wanted it to go up through the Arab Emirates and up into Iran. Let's just take a look at this thing. Man, that's got some hellacious rain bands up in the northern part of that thing. So yeah, definitely turning into a strong cyclone. So that one's definitely being worked on. So we got Typhoon Halong. Let's see where that thing is going. I bet it fits right between the islands on Guam. Let's bring this let me bring this where you guys can see it. Wow, this thing's gonna go. Guam's over here, so this thing's really, really strong out here. Let me back this out so I can kind of get my bearings. It looks like it's out there. It's out here by all the nuclear islands. Man, I need a better way to look at this. Hold on, let me go back to the models on here. If it'll let me go back. So here's the cyclone. Man, the models are not showing what the GFS is showing. It's got it turning straight out more headed. See, they're showing this on the other side of Guam. What the hell? Am I on the wrong? Let me just look here. It's weird, man. The noodles here, the models are not showing what the GFS is showing. Okay, here's Guam right here. So it's going to go well north of Guam, but man, that's really strong. Wave height's 30 feet right now. We can check that on the, let's just go check the waves. So yeah, that's a pretty strong little system right there. Almost 40-foot waves. Wow, look at all the wave anomalies in the Arctic. Let's check out what's going on with the heating event. So we still have a heating event going on. So they don't have the full polar vortex winds yet, but man, they're getting there. Pretty soon, all these winds are going to be gone from the Antarctic, and they're going to all be merged up here in the north. So anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call this a show. Thanks everybody out there that helps us and shares this information out. No telling what we'll run into tomorrow. Anyway, guys, much love. We need to rise up. Need to get people aware of what's going on in the air. You know, they're going to blame all this stuff on the people when it's, you know, the people that are out here and up in the sky. Anyway, guys, much love. I'm going to jump off here. We will catch you tomorrow. Much love. Let's see if we can get this thing to go.